Yes, that's right. Your girl's a homeowner. Your girl's a title deed holder. Not really, the bank has that. I finally have a proof of address.
Young, black, and beautiful.
Hi and welcome back to Venture Cat. On this channel we talk about personal finance and travel and just life in general. And in today's video I'll be telling you about how I bought a home. Yes, that's right. Your girl's a homeowner. Your girl's a title deed holder. Not really, the bank has that. But you know, I'm on my way and I have a place that's in my name. City of Johannesburg since we rates things in my name. I finally have a proof of address, you know, in my name. Did I mention that part? I think I did. I'm very excited. It's a new step in my life, a big one and a very big commitment. And you know, in this video I just want to let you guys know what the home buying process is, what you need to do when you're thinking about buying a home. And yeah, I hope that you enjoy and find this information useful. So the first thing that you need to think about is your affordability. So you need to have a clear understanding of what your budget is, how much you can afford to spend on a house each and every month. And when I say to spend on a house, I'm not just talking about your bond repayments if you're going to be taking out a home loan. I'm not just talking about those repayments. You need to think about the additional costs as well. So things like your levies if you're going to be staying in an estate or a complex, which is the case for me. And then if you're staying in a standalone house, you need to think about the homeowner's insurance that will come with that. You need to think about your rates and taxes, water and electricity. All of those costs, you need to factor them in and find out what your total monthly spend can be, or the range that you're willing to spend. And then once you have that, you will then be able to determine the price range of the homes that you can afford. So for example, if you can, say you're willing to spend 7,000 per month on your household fees, that means that your bond repayment alone would be maybe about 5,000, meaning that the price of the home that you want to buy would be about 500,000, because usually the bond repayment is roughly 1% of the value of your home. Roughly, obviously it'll depend on the interest rate that you get from the bank. That will determine what your exact repayment amount would be. Okay, so cool, you have an estimate of what your budget is, and that will basically help you to determine a range of the home prices that you can look at. So say we're saying 500,000 is your upper limit. It means that you can start looking at homes from around 400,000 to 500,000, and that could be your range. Yeah, depending on you can go lower, not higher than what you can afford, but definitely always lower. And the second thing you need to think about before also viewing places is that there will be additional upfront costs towards buying a home. Once you are ready to buy, you are going to have to deal with lawyers, and that's going to attract a fee up front, and it's usually like a percentage of what your home, of the value of the home, or the value that you are going to buy the home at. So you need to think about that, and those costs can go, you know, up to 40k, above 40k, depending on the value of your home. So you need to think about that, and you need to have those costs up front usually. You also need to think about the area that you want to buy in. So the things that you need to think about when you are thinking about your area is how far is it from work, if you're going to be traveling to work, like how's the traffic today, what's the safety, or how safe that neighborhood is, do you know people there, and if you do, how do the people there find it, the properties in that space, like are they well kept in that neighborhood, are they well kept, because that can also determine whether like 5 years down the line the values of the property in that area, like whether or not they will be going up or down, depends on, you know, how they look now and whether people are actually taking care of the places there. So yeah, those are the things that you need to think about before even viewing. Now you can go ahead and go on your private properties, your property 24, and all the other property sites, and you can filter for what you want. So you also, I forgot to mention, you need to think about like whether you want to be in a 1-bedroom or a studio apartment. Do you want to buy a 2-bedroom, you want to buy a mansion, you know, up to you, up to your budget and your pocket. If you're buying a mansion, please invite me over. Okay, so you have that, you filter. So you'll filter for the number of rooms, the number of bathrooms that you want, the price range that you want, and say your upper limit was for 500,000 that I spoke of earlier. You can put your upper limit to 550 or even 600, but you know that when you look at places and if you eventually offer, like put in an offer, it shouldn't be more than 500,000. And when you put in an offer, you can always negotiate. So even if the place is listed for say 550, you could offer 500 if you know you think it's reasonable for the place, and also if that's what you afford. And then once you've found places that you like online, you have to actually go and view the place. Once you view the place, when you view the place, you need to be thorough in what you're looking for. Obviously you're just gonna browse like, do I like the place? You'll get a feeling of it. There will be places where you're just like, you don't want to even waste your time on doing like a thorough inspection, and that's okay. Like there will be places that you don't like, but for the places that you do like and you think that you have a proper interest in it, make sure that you view the place properly. So, and when I say properly, I mean you are opening the cupboards, you're opening the stove, you're switching it on, you're switching on and off the lights, making sure that the electrical outlets work, making sure that the toilets flush, the shower water showers yeah, English, all of those things, like the small things. You're looking at the walls, are there any cracks in the walls? You're looking at the ceiling to see if there's any like stains, water stains that might indicate that there's a leak, you know, that the roof or the ceiling or whatever. Like you're looking at all of these things because you need to make sure that the place that you eventually end up buying doesn't have any defects, and you know, you don't want to be stressed when you move in and you find out that, oh, there are all these things that you didn't know about because you just like looked at it at just face value without actually getting down and dirty and yeah, not down and dirty, but like, you know, just doing a proper inspection of the place. Yeah, okay, cool. So now you've done your proper inspection, you've seen several places, and you found a place that you actually like. It's in the area you like, it's in the price range that you can afford, or you know that, you know, you could potentially negotiate down to the price that you can afford and the price that is relevant for that unit. And also another thing about inspecting a place, just to go back to the previous point, is if there are any defects, you can let them know that, okay, you can see 1, 2, 3 is missing, 123 is broken, so I can't pay this price that you're asking for. I'm probably going to offer a lower amount. Like, you can use that to negotiate. Or you can also make a clause that they need to fix these things before you actually buy it. So, which leads me into this next point, which is once you find the place that you like, you're going to have to sign something called an offer to purchase, and they abbreviate it into an OTP. And essentially what an offer to purchase is just a contract stating that you like the place and you're willing to buy it for this amount, and it has a whole bunch of like other statements stipulating the terms of this offer to purchase. So in those terms you can add things like, okay, the cupboards will loose, whatever, I want that fixed before this purchase can go through, and you can put in a clause to say I want it done within maybe a month or something, so that you don't delay your whole home buying process. When you sign this, before you sign the OTP, you need to read through it carefully and make sure that you understand everything that's written there, because it's a binding contract, and once you've signed it you can't back out. So just make sure that you know what is written there, you understand what's written there. You can literally, like when I was speaking to the real estate agent, we were going through it like line by line, and I would ask, what does this mean, what does that mean? And you can also Google terms that you don't know, because sometimes they will have law things like law terms and phrases that the normal everyday person who didn't study law wouldn't know. So make sure you understand everything and you're happy with the terms that are in that offer to purchase. And yeah, then once you've signed the offer to purchase and the seller accepts it, they're like, okay, I'm happy with the price that I got cut off there. So I was saying that you're going to need to apply for a home loan, and when you apply for a home loan, I'd recommend using a bond originator, because a bond originator is basically someone who will apply to all the different banks on your behalf. So instead of you having to apply at every single bank and filling out the forms at every single bank, you just fill out one form, that's the bond originator's form, and they will go and apply for you. When you're applying for a home loan, you're going to need your 3 months bank statement, you're going to need to show proof of income, you're going to need obviously your ID, proof of address, things like that. There's a bunch of different documents that you need, and sorry, there's a bunch of documents that you need, and they're also going to ask you what are your expenses. So they'll need your income and your expenses, and that's what they're going to use to try and figure out whether you can actually afford to repay them and whether you can afford to buy this place. Another thing you can do also right in the beginning of the process is to go to the bank and just ask them, you know, I'm interested in buying a home, or even speak to a bond originator or real estate agent and ask them to pre-qualify you. So ask them, what can you afford and stuff. But why it's important to still have a budget is, and like do it yourself, is because the banks will tell you that you can afford more than what you can actually afford. Like, they will say you can afford to repay a bond of like 30% of your gross income, but your gross income is taxed. Your gross income, you take out, you pay for insurance, you pay for a whole bunch of other things, and sometimes banks can offer you more than what you can actually afford. They can offer you what you can afford on paper, but like real life, you know, you don't want to be putting away like almost half of your take-home salary towards paying for the house, because you're not going to live a nice life, and you want to live a nice life, I would assume. Anyway, I digress. What was I talking about? Bond originators. So You apply, and then you apply to the bond originator, and they go to speak to all the different banks on your behalf. And after that, the banks will come back and they will say, yes, we accept you, we can offer you an interest rate of so and so percent. And another bank will say, okay, we can offer you an interest rate that's lower than bank A. And bank C can say, okay, we're offering you a rate that's maybe higher than the first two. So once you have all of these offers from the banks, you will determine which one you like based on the terms of the home loan offer, and also the interest rate. The lower the interest rate, the better, because it means that your bond repayments will be lower as well. So the nice thing about a bond originator is that you'll get offers or rejections from all of the banks, and then you can use the offers that you get to negotiate. So what I did is, because I bank with a particular bank and I wanted to stay with that bank, so I had actually a lower offer from a different bank, and I went back. I was like, no, I was offered like prime plus 2 plus 1% from this other bank, and you're offering me prime plus 2. Please, can you readjust your rate? I've been a client of yours for 5 years, or all of that, and I'd love to stay banking with you. Please, look at it again. And they looked at it again and they're like, okay, we can offer you a rate that's lower than what the other banks are offering. And then that's when I went with them. So yeah, that would be the process. And then once you have a home loan approval and you're like, okay, sharp, I'm gonna take this home loan, then that's when the attorney process will kick in. And what the attorneys do is that they make sure that the sale is transferred. So they do the law stuff. They make sure that the house gets transferred into your name and it leaves the seller's name. And then they also help with the bond registration. So you're going to have to pay 2 fees. You're going to have to pay transfer fees, and you're going to have to pay bond registration fees to the lawyers. And yeah, this money you need upfront. In some cases, you can get a home loan that's like 105%, meaning that they borrow you money that's more than what the value of the house is. But that's not a good idea, and I will talk about that in another video. But don't do it, because usually it ends up being more expensive in the long run. Like, long story short, it's more expensive, and just rather pay that money upfront, which means you'd have to save upfront. Then the home will, once you've paid that, the lawyers will do their thing. Then the home will be registered in your name, and you can move in, la-di-da-di-da, nice things. So yeah, that is the home buying process. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below, and yeah, I will definitely answer them. I'm going to make a few videos about the home buying process and just my journey in particular, so stay tuned, and bye. If you found this video informative, please do share it, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Bye.